Today, I am officially declaring a national emergency.
Well, today, the Dow had its worst one-day point drop.
National death toll approaches 100,000.
Ensure that everyone in the community gets access to these items.
The numbers are still going up.
Put 60 million people in lockdowns.
Stay safe, stay healthy.
Remain indoors to the greatest extent.
Closing all public schools.
We recognize there's been a learning loss. We are considering the prospect of an even earlier school year.
How do we educate children during a crisis?
Globally, there is an estimated 1.29 billion students attending an educational facility of some sort. According to UNESCO, 73% of all students enrolled in schools have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, causing millions of schools across 177 countries to close.
When we first closed down, we were only going to be closed for about 2, maybe 3 weeks at the most. We thought this was going to be a temporary blip.
Before spring break, there were 3 weeks where there was no guidance from administration on what to do.
I think there was a bit of novelty to start, and it was quite nice being home. Was it vacation?
As the week started going on, I was getting bored and I was starting to miss being in the classroom and interacting with other people.
The few weeks when we were first hearing about Corona, I was worried about getting it from other students because I have family who are at risk. So I was like, okay, cool, we're taking action. But I had no idea that it was going to last this long and how it's continued. And I thought it would just be like a few online Zooms, and then maybe a few months later, possibly we would go back to school. Not the case.
When people aren't at school, to just every day to have the mindset that it's school, because it for the past month, pretty much, it's felt like summer. So it's hard to just remember, oh wait, I need to do school.
A lot of email, which is surprising because I feel like our generation never uses email, but now we're like forced to check email every day.
Schools are using different software, but effectively the lessons are taking place, or the lectures or the classes are taking place on Zoom.
I felt like Zoom meetings were kind of awkward and uncomfortable.
It's really easy to get distracted on Zoom. You're not there in class.
You're having to focus on one thing on the computer, and in a normal conversation or in a classroom, you can look around, you can look, be a little distracted by the people or the things on the walls. Attention and focus isn't always on you. So it takes a lot more effort on the part of your senses. While, the content that is being taught might be just as good, kids aren't necessarily going to get it.
Some of the public schools didn't have the mechanism, didn't have a structure in place to go online.
A lot of my teachers, I feel like, didn't know what they were doing. They were like, okay, I'm just going to try to come up with a game plan on the spot.
I'm kind of a 20th century guy. I've never used Google Classroom. My style, I use a lot of paper. I knew I could figure everything out. It was just, I had to do it quickly. A lot of what I do in physics are demonstrations too. I didn't want the heart and soul of my class to disappear. My first few days, what I tried to do was have people send me pictures of their modules, and it was a nightmare. I was on my computer for like 14 hours a day. I need to 21st centuryize it.
A lot of kids have had trouble, of course, wondering, what's the point of doing school? What's the point of any of this? Because I don't know what's going to happen.
It's a pass-fail grade. So if I don't like an assignment and I feel like maybe there's not really a point to it, it's a lot harder for me to want to do good on it and actually put in my best effort.
There's no motivation for a grade. There's no real way for a teacher to catch collaborative work. The bar has just been dropped.
You're like, oh, I have so much time, and then you get distracted because you're at home, and obviously you goof off on your phone. But and whereas in a normal school year, when you get home, you've got like 4 hours to get all my work done that night before I need to go to sleep.
When people share stuff in class, I feel like it's easier for me to comprehend what they mean rather than over a Zoom call, or like you can see what they're really feeling about something.
It loses a lot of the humanity.
When I'm in class, when I see that people are really with me, or I'm losing them, or people aren't getting it, or people are enjoying themselves, I miss all of those cues.
Experience for children in school is huge. They're learning how to negotiate conflict and friendship and working in groups and collaborating, and they're not getting that anymore.
I miss seeing my friends every day.
I think that's one of the biggest part of high school is you get to go out, have fun, you get to meet other people in your classes, you make these bonds.
I believe in the online rally, Sean Loader, one of the MCs, mentioned that his favorite part of TAM,
The breaks between classes, just the quality bonding time we have.
And that is gone. We didn't do the class cheers, like the strongest tradition at the rallies.
Yeah, there's a fair amount of frustration. And the worry as a mental health practitioner is that frustration, if it doesn't get acknowledged and validated, is that can, go towards more troubling experiences for kids.
Some kids, just escape into their art, or they're going to just play video games all day long. And you know what? Before we might have said, oh, that's being lazy, or you know what, just buck up. But that might be the best that they can do right now. It used to be the case, that if a student needed to work on the farm to help out the family, school started later. If it's a larger societal need, it has always tried to be catered to by our educational system.
There's uncertainty about going back to school and what that would look like.
One option is to continue doing what we're doing.
And the hard thing is, it's not that the district has to make this decision. This is really being played out at the government and the national level.
There's very few people who have been alive during something like this. The last time there was a huge global pandemic was the Spanish flu, I believe. And none of us really knew how to handle this, but you do see so many different people adapting in these incredible ways and coming up with solutions. And I definitely think that we're going to be more united and stronger moving forward.
It's amazing how much people can actually handle, thinking that they probably couldn't before. That hopefully will give kids a different perspective later on when things get hard, knowing that they got through this. So if they can get through this, they can get through a lot.